What did you make of yesterday and the Giants and the Angels? And, man, the way that thing played out, you had A.J. Bollocks, as I said on Twitter, which you talk about the word.
Not a 2.
He gave me a 2, but it actually is worth way more when you look up the definition of bollocks.
Oh, we know. It's just still a 2.
It's if you actually know, if you had a sense of
Number 2.
Great Britain and European sensibility, the way he played that ball in the outfield was absolute bollocks. Mm-hmm. And the Giants lose that game, but not so fast because the Angels, hold my beer, we are more Giants than you Giants, and we're going to find our own way to lose this game. The Giants get a 6-piece in the 9th and go on to win that game.
Yeah, it was almost as if the game was hot potato. You take the win. No, you take the win. And nobody wanted to take the win. And you had, the relay where Luis Matos bobbles it. Then you had him at the plate. Patrick Bailey drops the ball, and you're going this way. Then you have J.D. Davis who hits that home run. And by the way, J.D. Davis, he might have one of the prettiest right-handed swings I've ever seen. Again, I love my lefties, but that's a very pretty right-handed swing. And you have both teams just unable to just put their foot in the ground and say, I'm going to just win this ball game. And ultimately, the Giants do. To me, it's one of those games where, they scored those runs, but do you think any differently about the Giants' offense after that? Because I don't. Not at all.
Well, yes and no. I mean, no, because you were held down the entire game. But yes, they did come through with some big hits late in that game, including this one.
Moustakas at third is in. He's thinking that Bailey's going to bunt. Hit to left. And it's going to fall! And it goes by the left fielder, gets it! 1 run scores! Here comes Davis! He's going to score! And the Giants take the lead. And now you can hear Giants fans.
Dwayne Kuiper, NBC Sports Bay Area with the call. And yes, it was an absolute debacle. It was a debacle from Grichuk in left. Do I dive? Do I not dive? How about I do neither and let the ball bounce by me as I fall to the turf? But that was a nice little piece of hitting from Patrick Bailey to hit a weak flare. He got enough of it to left. And it was a base hit.
Yeah, line driving the books. Line driving the books. I just continue to think of these things in the big picture. For me, yes, you have to get the win. You have to beat the team you're supposed to beat. But specifically with Patrick Bailey, you got to get him going. And after the game, he talked about just trying to do less at the plate. He was trying to do too much. He got really hot for a second. And sometimes when that ball is looking like a beach ball, you try to do too much. So he had to take a step back, go the other way, and the baseball gods gave him exactly what he wanted and then some, because apparently the baseball gods hate the Angels. Just hate them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they hate the Angels or if the Angels hate themselves because the way that game unfolded with the Giants giving the Angels the run that gave them the go-ahead lead on their own. Mm-hmm. So the Angels go up 3-2, and a good baseball team at that point wins the game. You don't allow the other team to come back and put a 6-piece on you. Yeah,
and the Angels, the thing about them, and we're going to talk to Matt Vasgersian later, the thing about them that you do feel for is that they've tried to make moves. They really have. It's such a confusing roster. You got Mike Moustakas, and I'm thinking, from back in the day with the Royals. Then we're still running out Matt Moore, who is having a pretty decent season this year. But I'm thinking we're still running Matt Moore out here. So you have to get these W's. We know what's coming up for the Giants. So I'm happy about it. Do I think any differently of the Giants? I'm happy that they beat a team they're supposed to beat, but it was very ugly, and you can't do that against the Rangers. You can't do that against the Rays, but fortunately, they are not playing the either of those teams right now.
Alan Stiles in for Mark Willard here on 95.7 The Game, and the Giants able to get it done with the best closer in baseball.
Got him, and that's the ball game. Doval strikes out to side in the ninth, and the ninth inning. maybe the most exciting ninth inning of the year. The Giants trail going to the ninth. They score 6 times, and this is a nice win.
More Dwayne Kuiper, NBC Sports Bay Area. Doval does not get the save because they were up 8-3, but he does strike out the side in the ninth. And do you get any comfort knowing that the Giants have that luxury at the back of their pen?
I do, and we know he's cool as a cucumber, cool as the other side of the pillow. Where I'm taking this, Dibs, is I like Gabe Kapler. A lot of people don't like Gabe Kapler. I'm not going to speculate as to why they don't like Gabe Kapler. All I know is that I like Gabe Kapler. So what do I see after the game from Giants fans? Why was Doval pitching? Why was he pitching? They were up this many runs. You can't even get a save. Then you have some other Giants fans. Hey, we just want to get this W, right? You had that losing streak on the road. Just get the W. And to me, it just gets to a point where if Gabe Kapler says, you should turn left here, and even if you knew it was shorter and Gabe Kapler lived there are Giants fans that say, you know what, I'm just going to go right and see what happens. That's essentially what I'm seeing now. The Giants got the W. Patrick Bailey goes off. He does his thing. You win the game. Doval comes in. He just does what he needs to do. He has not pitched in a while.
Right.
And you still find a way to complain about Gabe Kapler and what he's doing with the ball club. Just be happy for once. What is the problem?
Well, the problem is maybe you're overusing Doval. And if he gets to a spot here in the next 4 to 5 weeks where he gets tired.
But that's roster construction, right? And it's the fact that, okay, he's the main person that you can trust.
But you're up 8-3, Allen. You've got some wiggle room.
But let's just play the game. Yeah, with that offense, with that defense that we've been seeing, you want to take a chance? Div, let's just play the game. Let's just play the game. You don't bring Doval in, and you end up blowing it. Let's just play that game, Dibs.
Like, how do you blow that? You're going to blow 5 runs? A 5-run lead?
The Angels just gave up all those runs in the top of the ninth.
Well, that's the Angels, and you're not the Angels.
Well, that defense looked pretty similar to me last night.
You had a little bit of a bollocks from A.J. Pollock, and I know Grandy doesn't love that. And I know it's a 2, Grandy.
Even Bailey had a dropped ball at the plate. That guy should have been gunned at home.
All I'll say, Dibs, is if you use the joke again, it's going to be a 1.
Okay. I get that. I get that, Grandy. I'm just trying to bring it home for the people who haven't maybe followed me on Twitter, at Dan Dibley, at the _ Allen Styles, or
at the _ Styles Files. Styles with an I.
Yeah, and just the _ I mean, can we...
It was taken.
Styles Files was taken?
Yeah.
How about Allen Styles?
How
about Styles Like Us or Styles Make Fights? We're going to work on your Twitter handle.
Everybody tries to chime in and tell me what to do with my name because I have such a cool last name. That's what I want, and that's what I'm sticking with.
Stick with it all you want. And I love your name. And you don't know this, and I don't know if we've had this conversation, but I wanted to name my child Styles.
Me. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So it's old news. Anyway, God, all my stuff is retread.
You got it.
Did I mention AJ Bollocks?
Come on,
Number one, exactly. I knew Grandy was going to come with that. My only point is this, Allen, and I wanted to name Quest Styles. I got vetoed. I love the name. I love my partner. I'm a huge fan. You know this. You're up 8-3. You don't need to use your closer when you're up 8-3. You can throw in one of your other pitchers, and if things get a little bit sideways or a little bit wonky,
then you got to rush him and put him in anyway.
You don't have to rush him in. He's already ready. You don't have to use him up 8-3. It's unnecessary to use your closer when you're up by 5.
I'm just celebrating the victory. That's where I'm at.
Of course, and I am too. But if we get to September and Doval is looking a little bit fatigued, don't come back to me and say, well, they overused him. This was a spot where they did not need to use him. The Angels were done. You got a 6-piece in the top of the ninth to put that game away. You could have gotten 3 outs with Brandon stinking Crawford on the hill.
Gabe Kapler's job is to get W's, and that's what he did last night. If anything, if we get to September and Doval does look a bit tired, to me that just goes back to roster construction and the ability for other pitchers to execute, or the inability for them to execute. I hear what you're saying, Dibs, and you probably could have put somebody in. All I'm saying is when you're on a losing skid and you're trying to get right and get the momentum back in your favor, you got to do what you got to do. It was a pretty low level ninth inning, right? He didn't have to do too much. It's not like it was high six or anything like that. Just get in, get out, get on with your life, and get another W and move forward.
Yeah, and Doval ultimately gets 3 strikeouts, and he comes on to pitch. And I see you on the Xfinity Mobile text line. Doval had already gone through his warm-ups from the 6.50. They didn't think they were going to put up that much more. I get that. He had already thrown in the bullpen. That doesn't mean you have to bring him in and let him go out there and pitch for the 52nd time. He's thrown 52 innings, and I just wonder if you get into deep September and maybe October, if you're that good, will Doval be affected by the fact that he's pitched all these innings?
If that's the feel, it's just very easy to say that after the fact. So after the game ends, we shouldn't have even put him in there. But you put in somebody else, and maybe it doesn't go as swimmingly, and your tone would have been different. So to me, anybody out there that is just huffing and puffing, why are we doing this? It is so easy to just critique based on what has already happened. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I only critique knowing what I know about baseball and the fact that you've got a 5-run lead. And in general, when you have a 5-run lead, you don't tab your closer to come in. Now, I know you were down 3-2 when that inning started, and I guess if they still were down 3-2, would they have brought Doval in? If the Giants don't score, or maybe they score 1 in the top of the ninth, because if they don't score in the top of the ninth, then he doesn't pitch at all because you lose the game.
Right.
But if you score 1, does he go to Doval in a 3-3 game in the bottom of the ninth?
Probably. I mean, look, I'm not even necessarily coming down anybody's road. I don't even disagree with the fact that you didn't need to use Doval. I'm just saying how upset I saw some fans for using Doval just speaks more to the fact that you just don't like anything that Gabe Kapler does. It was more to me about that and less about the fact that, sure, did you have to use Doval? No, but are we really going to spend? I mean, these games, you end pretty late at night. You got to get ready for work in the morning, so you're going to spend the last couple hours you have before you go to bed upset about Gabe Kapler bringing in Doval when you could have been complaining about another L. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you had to bring him in.
No, I get it, and I'm not saying that I spent the whole night complaining about Camilo Doval.
You might have.
I actually know, and these games get done so early now that it's not that late into the night.
Oh, so plenty of time to complain.
Yeah, well, plenty of time to jump on Twitter and bury Kapler, which I don't do. I think Kapler's done a great job. I just wonder, and I worry a little bit about a team that leads baseball in bullpen innings, and you've got your back of the bullpen closer who might be the best in baseball. Shout out Batista in Baltimore, who's having a slightly better year, but I don't want to get into that argument. We have enough Baltimore talk already on the station. But I think about a closer who didn't need to be in the game last night, yet he had to go out there and throw, and I wonder about how this might affect them come October.